And welcome to this lesson. Well, we almost finished. If you make it up to here, it's like we are almost finished with that semester. Like, I believe that we probably have only two more classes, not including this one, by the way. Okay, but after this one, then you probably only have maybe one or two more. Yes, no more than that. Well, the good thing is that, you know, we are all happy. Anyway, so let's start today's lesson. So, we're going to talk about objects. And what is an object? In JavaScript, okay, objects are similar to arrays, but object uses string instead of number. So let's look at this part here first. And by the way, an object just use the string to access to the element. All right, it means that array use the number to access to the element. So if I have an array here that I'm just gonna call it people, and then this is equal to, and I have here have just yay. You just add this, and I have number 2, and I have number 4, and I have number 9. I know I say it's gonna be a people array, but you know, thing change. Anyway, so if I want to access to the elements, I use the index, let's say 2, and it will return the number 4 because 0, 1, and 2, the value is number 4. So that's what I mean by the array access the value using a number. On the other hand, let me clear, yes, I didn't say delete it. Let me clear this thing. So in the other side, when we have an object, okay, we have the object people, and then we use what we call the curly brackets, okay? And in here, I have something that I'm gonna call keys, okay, or property. And this one will be name. And then I will add some name here. And then I'm gonna add age. And of course, I'm just gonna add a number. And I will add, what else should I add? I don't know what to add. Oh, that's weird. I'm just gonna add the word. That's what I have. Yeah, something like favorite word or something. And I just gonna say yes. Right? And of course, if I want to access to my age, the way that I do is I call people, and instead of me saying here, put a number like this, by the way, I'm just trying to access the array. And of course, it's gonna say undefined just because remember, we changed the value of the array right now. Because this array was a call people, but then we convert that array into an object and then we change the value of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call this by using the string name, and I got John because I access the value using a string instead of a number. So if we're going back to the definition here, we have a JavaScript object, which is similar to an array. And you saw that was true, okay? Because you saw that we put the name of the array, and here we add in the name of the object. And then we use a string to access the value instead of using a number, okay? And of course, this string here, we call it a key or property that we're gonna be using a lot. Just keep in mind that when I say property, I don't mean the one that we learned in CSS, and I'm just gonna do here some CSS code. And then I used to have font size, which is a property, and then I used to have a value here. So we are not talking about this one. However, they look similar, right? You see this? Like how that's how you create it. But this is not an object. This is CSS. But an object is what we just did here. All right, just to keep that in mind. Okay, so let's keep going. Creating an object. So we just did that right now. So we here create an object called cat. And I got an arrow. Let's see, why do I have an arrow? I don't know why I always got an arrow when I put this. Let's see, I think if I go and put it like this, I think it should work. Probably it doesn't recognize the quotes. But it was a quote. I don't know why it's giving an error though. It is a quote. It's just that this quote is coming from the book, and here I'm just typing the quote myself. This is why you should not copy and paste. That's number one reason. You will get an error and then you will go crazy and be like, oh my God, what's going on? Because this is a quote. So you should not thinking that this is an error, which by the way, this is not saying anywhere that my arrow is a quote. That's the problem number one. Anyway, so like I mentioned before, here we have the key, which is always a string on this side. And yes, I know you didn't see the double quote that make this a string, but you can write this this way. So it's okay to write it this way, like just the same way that I did right now here. Okay, so look at this. Here I'm using my quotes, double quote, and here I'm not. So, but it's the same, okay? And we has the value, which it can be any type. And when I say any type, just remember that I'm talking about string, boolean, or a number. Well, we already talked about that. Oh my God, this lesson is gonna be really short though. Okay, so another way to access to try to get the value from the object is by using the dot notation. So you can add a value using the square bracket, just like with the array, the same thing that we did, like this. But you can also use the dot notation. This one is really cool, just because I'm gonna go to the people first, okay? So I'm gonna type people, that, and look at this. It will give you a list of the properties and not the value, but only the property that you have. I don't know if you guys used Java before or any other programming language, but this is very useful when you use the dot notation, because once you click the dot, it will give you a whole bunch of stuff that the program has. And this way it's going to be so easy for you to remember something, or also to know where to put stuff. Okay. So for example, here we have the age, name, and word. So I'm just gonna type age and just click enter. And again, I get 20 because I'm trying to get the property age, and that has a value of 20. All right. And of course, you can get all values just by saying the word object and click the dot and key, and then adding inside the object. In this case, my object is people. Okay, and look at this. So you will get a list of all objects that you have. Well, not all objects, but like all property inside the object. Okay, remember these are properties. This is the object, and this is the value. Where are the value though, by the way? Oh, that's when you get only the, okay, you only get the key from this. All right, sure, not a problem. That's fine. So we get the key, and again, you need to know what is inside the object to use the object. All right, because if you don't know what's going on in there, it's different from an array where, let me just create an array because I would like to compare this array with this object. Let me just hide this thing. Equal to, I'm just gonna say 1, 2, and 3, 4. So the difference is that, of course, because you only have this, you can just type a number here. And if you don't have it, let's say if you don't have, let's say I put 10, you just get undefined, which is fine, okay? But if you just start putting numbers here, you will get a value because you only go by the index, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we got 0, 1, 2, and 3. And you will get something back. However, if you don't know the properties inside the object, then you cannot come here and be like, well, I got a cat and I believe this cat, I don't know, have a property of, I don't know, face. And then you get like undefined, which is easy just to come here and just type 0. And of course, you're going to get nothing because this is an object, not an array. Right, let's continue. Adding value to the objects. And of course, same way that we did with the variables, when we create a variables and then we start adding values, we do it the following way. So we had a cat, and I would like to change how many legs the cat has. So if I'm here and I want to say, well, instead of 4, I want to say 3. Now, if I call my object to the leg, I get the number 3. All right. So basically, adding and changing things around is pretty easy. Nothing to like go that crazy. And you can also use the dot notation for that one as well, like that, and color. And I want to change the color. Instead of black, I'm going to make it red. There you go. Now, if I just come here and change and call this property, and now it's red. Pretty easy. But now here is when, the professor will be like, oh, well, now we have a problem and all this stuff, because imagine if you thought, if you saw the last video, we're talking about arrays, we do a whole bunch of stuff in array. Now imagine doing that, but adding an object. Okay? So let's get in trouble. If I have an array of people, and you know what I'm doing with cats? I have an array of cats. Okay, this is my array, just an empty array so far. Inside this array, I can create an object. This is one object, this is 2 objects, and this is 3 objects. So 1, 2, and 3. Inside the object, I can have same thing, can have a name, I can have color, and I can have legs. Okay, just gonna call this one Tom, just gonna say this one black, and I'm gonna say 4. But I can also do the same, just gonna copy and paste for my second object, and the same for my other object. So here I'm just gonna try to clean it up and try to, let's see if I can make it look nice. There you go. Okay, looks a little bit better. And I'm just gonna change the color here. I'm just gonna say red, and then I will say, I don't know, white, and then I'm gonna say 3, and then this cat has 2 legs though. And then this is Tom, but this is cat A, and this one is cat B. And I want to, let's see, what can I do to make this more complicated? Right now, yes, we have an array. This is the array. Then we have 3 objects inside the array. But for now, let me leave it like that. And of course, if we want to access the array, how do we do it? We use the index number, okay? And then if I call this the index number, I say 1, I will get this object right here. This object is index 1, which is 0, 1, and 2. Here you have a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to display only the color of the cat, you can make it easy just by calling the array using the index. Say that, and then just say color, and there you go. You get the red one from index 1, which is 0, 1, and 2. Yes, that's the easy part. But if I want to do something like this, inside this, instead of legs, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, you know what, I need an array of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here, I'm already have problems. Not really problem, but you know what I mean. So here, having a cat, which is an array, then I have a whole 3 objects, but then inside one of the property, I have an array. You see that? So if I click here, it works. Didn't get any error. So how can we get number 2 from here? Well, let's try. And again, I want to access which index, which is 0, 1, and 2. So number 0 is the one that has the array. And then I want to say, which is the legs. But if I just click there, I get all of it. See that? But we don't want that. We just want to print the number 2, let's say. So if I'm here, and let me just go back, and that's it right here. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm here. So what I'm supposed to do? So since you have this property here, and you want to access this, you have one way to do it. But I want you guys to think about it. What about if? What about if we just do like trying to access just like a regular thing, like a regular array? For example, I'm coming here and I'm just do this. And I'm just come here and I'm saying, well, this is an array 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And this is 1. What about if I put 1? And there you go. So now we got like cat 0 that leg 1. Or you can also have something like this. Delete this. Put this inside. Make this as a string. And just click enter. And yep, pretty much that though. But of course, will not be fun if we don't do something more, you know, a little bit crazy. So what about if inside this array I have another array? I know, right? It's crazy. Many arrays. And here I'm just gonna put like, you know, 11, 12, not 11, but 22, 33, 44. I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger. What about if we want access to the 22? Let me go here. So I'm just gonna try to start from, you know, start from the other one. And here, if I want to print number 2, I go to 0, 1, 2, 3, which is 1 here. However, now I need to go to the under index, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now here I need type of 4. As you can see here, Chrome is telling you, hey, in this index you have an array instead of just a single value. And of course, just because of an array and you use number to access an array, the only thing that you have to do is type the square bracket. There you go. And then you get 22. But again, this thing can get, a little bit crazy. Not only here, but a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff because especially for APIs. Okay, when you're using API, that's when you definitely start having issues. Well, it's not that bad, but let me give an example of the API. Okay, let me just stop the video here and make another video for the API. Just give me 1 second, be right back. So this is like an API, okay? So if you don't know, an API stands for Application Programming Interface. Think about an API just like a whole bunch of code that is out there, just waiting for someone to call each line of this code right here, okay? Yeah, I mean, that's the more simple definition that I have right now because this course is not about API, but these are objects. And, this is a good example to see how complicated things can get. However, don't look at it like complicated, but just look at it like a good thing because all these API out there, by the way, I'm using the Twitter API. As you can see, with this code, I can implement all these tweets, all these things inside my website or any application that I create. But we're talking about objects, and as you guys can see, we have an statuses object, and in here, and by the way, look at this how we start the object right here. In here, we have an array. And then inside this array, look at what we have. Let me just make this bigger. Look at what we have. We have another object. So this is saying we are going to, let me just go up. What's going on? Okay, I cannot, so I'm using plan B. Damn Apple. Anyway, so as you guys can see, this is my object. Then I have my property and I have an array. And this array, inside this array, this is same, I have a whole bunch of objects. So you guys can see that, okay? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 objects. So I'm just gonna go ahead and display only the first one. We don't need to go like on each one, but only this one. So inside this object, we have the property when it was created. So if the tweet was created at this time, the ID of the tweet, it has an ID, the assign ID in a string, the test, and here on this one, we know that this is an object, this is a property, that value is another object. And guess what? One of those properties are hashtag. And then look at this. The hashtag has an array. So I believe that you can use many hashtags. Okay. Hello. So it should have like something like this. I'm just guessing right now because I haven't read my this API. So I'm just guessing that some of the stuff might come in like this. And inside that, we have a property that have another array. And this array have a URLs. By the way, the property names is URLs, but look at it. It makes sense because hashtag, like one tweet has always more than one hashtag. So you create an array for that. And URLs, here, I'm not sure what they mean by that. Again, I haven't studied this API. I did use it for one of my projects, but that was like, I don't know, like probably 2 years ago. Yeah, but I don't know, they changed something anyway, but I don't know what they mean by this URL. Of course, you can just copy and paste and yeah, like just search for this one. Anyway, so the thing is that inside this array, we have another object, which is this one right here. See that? And this object have another property, which is array, which is a URL, and they have more things right there. However, this property also have another array right here. So again, you can like think, how crazy this thing can go. Yep, nothing. And again, this is good. Trust me, it is perfect. Just because this API, you can just call this thing to a specific thing. For example, when you go into website and they have some type of like feed, and those feed are like coming from Twitter or from Facebook or something like that, it means that they just look at, instead of just posting the whole Twitter account in their website, they just can come here using the API and use whatever they want. For example, they just can take the text and the hashtag only, and they can use that from the whole tweet thing. So this is one, this is why these objects and especially API are really good at. And again, this is a good thing to know. But that's it for this lesson. I don't think there's anything else that I'm gonna definitely add this link. And by the way, once you get this link, it's not gonna look like this. It might look something like this. Oh well, didn't. Let's see if I can get the original. No, I cannot. Okay, anyway, so it looked like everything together. Basically, just because, yeah, I just use a format thing, and the format makes the code look nice, but yeah, it doesn't look pretty at first when you see an API, because everything is like together. Okay, so but don't be scared. Just try to format that JSON, and try to format any type of language, even HTML. You can just like format HTML, and if you have a whole bunch of code, pretty easy, they just can add it here. For example, if your code look like this, something like this, and then like this, and of course I do this, and of course I close this, and of course I'm closing my HTML. So if you have like a website that everything is like together like this, the only thing that you can do is you try to format an HTML and you will get it like on the right way. See that? So that's what I did with the JSON. Everything was like a mess. Everything was together. I just copy and paste it here and I got it in a nicely way. Anyway, I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.